Hello, everyone. It's Leslie Flowers, Trailblazer for Women in Business, and you are at the Awakening Your Infinite Potential Telesummit, brought to you by Accelerate Experience Events 2018. And I am thrilled today to introduce to you Chrystal Harris, MD. She's a physician, a medical educator, coach, and a mom. She's a North Carolina native and has strong roots in the Tar Heel state. Chrystal grew up in Raleigh, then headed to Winston-Salem, graduating from Wake Forest University with a bachelor's degree in biology, and attended the Brody School of Medicine in Eastern North Carolina, where she obtained her doctorate in medicine. Dr. Harris did her training in family medicine and saw a variety of patients in practice, as well as taught medicine in the classroom. So let me go from doctor to back to Chrystal.
Yes.
Through Chrystal's experiences and working with patients and students and other medical professionals, she saw how the struggle to reach personal health and professional goals could be overwhelming and frustrating, yet it didn't have to be that way. With this in mind, Chrystal transitioned from the practice of medicine to coaching individuals on ways to make a faster, smoother transition from dreaming of something better to actually living the dream. Thus, her company, Chrystal Violet Solutions, was born. Believing the mantra, always a physician, but not only a physician, Chrystal's mission involves working with women in medicine to create a lifestyle that matches their vision and to connect them with people, places, and things that make their lives less stressful, more manageable, and more enjoyable. Chrystal's vision is that as the face of medicine changes to be more female, that there is a change in the culture that supports women in medicine in their endeavors to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and the best providers that they can be. Welcome, Chrystal.
Oh, thank you, Leslie.
Thanks so much for being here today. I'm so excited about your presentation.
I appreciate you having me.
Oh, good. So you have a PowerPoint for us, don't you?
I do.
So shall we jump right into that?
That sounds good.
Okay, let's do.
Let me share my screen.
There we go. I'll take it away, my friend.
All right, thank you. Well, greetings, everyone. My name is Chrystal Harris, and I am a woman in medicine as a medical doctor. But as one of my mentors used to say, and as Leslie mentioned earlier, always a physician, but not only a physician. Thus, I am also many other things, but two of my favorites are mother and coach. As a physician, I once lost sight of my potential and couldn't see my way to doing all the things that I loved and wanted to do. I was struggling and stuck, and maybe at times you felt that way too. Thankfully, I had a moment that awakened me and changed my life. And so for today, my intention is for you to learn about how I awoke to my potential and gain more energy, more time, and more fulfillment, and to discover how it can help you to realize your full potential. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Since I was very young, I dreamed of being a doctor. When I was about 4, my grandfather had become very sick with what I later found out was emphysema. And my mother and 3 of her sisters took care of him in his final years. I thought it was fantastic how these women worked together to take care of his needs and to keep him in good spirits. I imagined being able to take care of people just as they had done and to keep them in good spirits. As the years went by, I was very good in science and math, and I imagined how doctoring would allow me to help people, to support my family, and to be a great mother, just like my mom was. Now, I held on to this dream all through childhood, and when I graduated from medical school as a young adult, I thought I had arrived, because for me, that was the hard part. You see, I'd given up romantic relationships, family time, and personal time. I'd also missed the weddings of friends, graduations, and funerals of loved ones. For me, I felt like I had really earned it through my sacrifice. However, even at the time of graduation, I started to feel a little tugging in my heart because maybe that wasn't the right way to go about it. So even when this picture was taken after I'd been working in family medicine, I was already feeling some bitterness for what I'd given up. Yet I was working with a great family medicine team, and my colleagues were amazing providers, skilled and supportive. Plus, I loved my patients. The problem was I just wasn't enjoying medicine like I thought I would. It wasn't too hard, but it was harder and harder to get through each day. It was because I was living with regret. My energy level was low, and I felt less fulfilled each day. I realized that I'd burned out. And I was wondering, was there something to fill that missing piece? Well, I felt very alone, but it turns out that studies show that about 40% of physicians experience some sort of burnout, about 15% report some form of depression, and almost 50% of women in medicine report having burned out at some point during their careers.
Wow.
So I wasn't alone. And maybe you experienced some of that too, because this is not unique to the medical profession. But I still felt guilty about not loving my chosen profession. I mean, who doesn't want to help people? Right? But sometimes I even felt like I was being ungrateful and that I didn't deserve to be happy. And I actually gotten to the point where I couldn't even imagine bringing kids into my life. And so that's the one thing that really weighed heavily on me. Then, in less than a year, I lost 2 of my family medicine colleagues to cancer. 2 friends that I'd actually gone to medical school with. Now, they had both been ill while we were at school, but both of them had gone into remission. And then while out in practice, both of their cancers came back with a vengeance. Now, since they had known that they had these conditions for a while, they actually lived their lives to the fullest. They did what they loved, which was practice medicine. I remember them coming to the office in face masks. Sometimes they would have IV bags hanging, or even they would come in riding motorized wheelchairs. Wow. And they always did it with a smile. And that's because medicine was their passion, and their passion gave them energy and fulfillment. And even though my friends were living with cancer, I really knew that I needed to find my passion the way they did, because that's what I needed as well. I learned an amazing lesson from them, that our hard work wasn't about being a doctor. It was about the opportunity to live my passion without regrets. And that's what they did, and that's what I wanted to do too. So I stopped thinking about what I was going to do and started thinking about why I wanted to do it. I wanted to be able to take care of my family, help people in my community, and be a happy, healthy mother, taking care of business just like my mom did. None of those things required me living with regret. I decided then and there I would do what it took to take care of myself inside and out. Now, usually I'm really nervous about change because change can be hard and other people like that too. But this time, when I made that decision that I could do all the things that I wanted to do, it just felt like a weight was lifted off of me. And it felt really easy, like I'd made the right choice. I was once in darkness, and here I was in the light. And it was almost instantaneous. And I can tell you one thing, that night I slept well for the first time in years. Not only that, things began to show up to help me along the way. People began to show up. And I also mentioned that during that time is when I met Leslie Flowers. And so I was beginning to build my support system, and I started living on my own terms. I also stopped worrying so much about what others thought of me. I transitioned from the practice of medicine to teaching it. I then opened up a business, Chrystal Violet Solutions, to coach others through their life transitions and stressors. I also had a baby, and that was the biggest joy of my life, having my son. And I began working from home, and I loved what I did, and I loved being a mom. And so I was the happiest I've ever been in my life. My life had more meaning and more fulfillment. Then a couple of years into that, my son's about 2 years old, I started to get that little feeling again. I couldn't believe it. How does someone who's so happy start getting that little nagging feeling? I tried to ignore it, but I knew that that wasn't going to cut it. Then I thought I needed to do more of my business, maybe. And so I tried to do it on my own. I started doing some online marketing and watching some videos here and there and learning a few things, but nothing felt right. And I wasn't building any momentum. It just really felt forced. And so I knew I needed to get some help. And that's when I reached out to someone who I knew could probably take me to that next level. And that was my amazing accomplished business coach, Leslie Flowers. And so I spoke with her about wanting to do more to help others. But I told her, I don't really know what it is that I'm supposed to do. And the thing was, she reminded me that there are no coincidences and to be aware of things showing up in my life. And a few days after I talked to Leslie, I saw an article entitled, "Women Are Now a Majority of Entering Medical Students Nationwide." And that's when I had my awakening. It was like a light switch came on. I knew my path. And everything that I had done, all the things that I went through, actually were leading up to this very point. Because I thought about how in 4 years, we will graduate more female doctors than male doctors. I also thought about the struggles that I had. And I realized it is up to us, those who have walked that path, to make sure that these females enter a culture of medicine that is more supportive of women living to their full potentials. My awakening came with an idea of women being the change that they wanted to see. And so we're not only about supporting women, but living the lives that we would like to see them live as well. And the thing is, the culture of medicine doesn't always support that. And so that makes me think of an interaction I had when I was working. I'm reminded of this interaction with a male attending physician. I was an intern working off service, and I had been working in the office for a few weeks. The attending was reading the newspaper when I came in, and he remarked that a local older female physician had passed away. I glanced at the newspaper and saw this long article about this female physician who had a glowing career, amazing service to the community, all the things that a young doctor would want to emulate. Then the attending physician set out to the group. Now she knew how to be a good lady doctor. She never got married and she never had any kids. I was stunned, but I didn't say anything, and no one else said anything either. Statements like that have no place in any profession. Yet, with our silence, we had agreed with him. So I want to do my part now to make that change in the culture of medicine. Additionally, I am aware that only 3% of people are happy, healthy, and wealthy in the world. Less than 1% of those are women, and few of those are women in the medical field. It's time to make that change as well. Thus, Wise Women was born. Wise Women stands for Women in Scrubs Elevating Women. And the mission is for females in medicine and in fields that are also medicine adjacent to come together for a common cause. The mission of Wise Women is to support the efforts of women in the medical field to obtain a high quality of life and realize their full potential. 2, to be able be examples for our rising medical colleagues so they know they too can do all things. And third, to change the culture of medicine to empower women in all their roles. Now, I recognize this is a tall order, but I also know that my infinite potential allows for something like this to be realized. I also recognize that only by helping others to realize their infinite potential will we be able to make a difference. And I know it can be done. Wise Women is not only about elevating women, but about elevating our communities and our cultures to their full potential as well. And so I really look forward to that, and I'm working hard to build up that group.
Chrystal,
Yes.
I'd like to ask you a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
So if you were going to say one thing that had you realize in your awakening that that's what it was, what would it be? So what was the one thing, how did you know that that was your awakening when Wise Women was born?
Yeah, I knew that that was my awakening because I had this feeling of this kind of glow that came from down deep. So before I had this kind of nagging feeling, and then it was like a warmth inside because it made me realize that if I had something like this when I was coming through, then some of that burnout, some of that feeling of being alone wouldn't have been there. And I could have been a little more productive, and I probably also would have left sooner. And I wouldn't have lost some of that time in my life where I sacrificed things that were so important to me. And so it's not about, yeah.
So tell us now. Oh, I do want to clarify one thing.
Yes.
So while you're speaking to people that are already in the medical field, you're also speaking to people, and correct me if this isn't so, that are looking to get into the medical field.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's really about following your passion. And my passion as I've grown is about supporting people through who are in the medical field through their different roles. And so there are going to be some folks who are coming up and going into medicine. Mm-hmm. There are going to be some people who are going into other fields, but support medical professionals or support what medical professionals are doing. And so it's about all of those, about helping all of those people to do the things that they enjoy doing and to fulfill their passion.
Excellent. Is this the last slide?
I do have one more slide.
Okay, go ahead.
And so, because it's all about it's about everyone awakening to their infinite potential, one of the things that I wanted to really stress is really listening to your instinct. Because once I started listening to my instinct, and that, you know, it could be a gnawing, nagging feeling in the pit of their belly, or it could be this warm glow that tells you this is it, or it could kind of feeling stuck and not really sure where to go, but it's telling you that there needs to be a change. It's telling you it's time to awake to your next level, and so it's really important to take the first step. So for me, it was refocusing on my purpose and then being alert to where it was leading me. And for others, it could be, like we said, going into the medical field. It could be building a new business, starting a new relationship. But it's really important to listen to your instinct. And so to help you along to realizing your full potential, I have a blueprint for that. And so I invite you to opt in to get the steps to awaken to your infinite potential. That blueprint, once again, is the Realize Your Full Potential Blueprint. And as part of that, I have a bonus gift, which is the Achievement Assessment. So this Achievement Assessment is something that I've been using with my group, my Wise Women group. And what it does is it helps to determine your achievement style, to help to evaluate your starting point, and then also to see areas of improvement. And so the reason for that is that for some people, setting goals and then reaching those goals they may not have a lot of struggle with that, but they're not necessarily setting the types of goals that bring them fulfillment. They're not necessarily setting goals that actually move them forward towards their purpose. And so the achievement assessment will help you to start to pinpoint some of those areas where you do need to kind of look to see what type of goals you're setting and how those goals could be more fulfilling and bring you a more meaningful achievement. And so please go on and get that opt-in so that you can download that blueprint and get the achievement assessment. Because it's really about starting where you are to get to where you're going. And so this blueprint is meant to help guide you to beginning that journey. And so once again, make sure you go ahead and download that and start today.
Chrystal, if the listener downloads it and fills it in, could they possibly reach out to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Send you like the assessment if they really want to have a conversation. Send you the assessment by email so that you could have a conversation about it. Is that a possibility?
Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what I do in my Wise Women sessions. And so, yes, so sending me that email and my contact information will be available to everyone so that they can send me that assessment and we can continue the progress.
Oh, that is awesome. This has been so illuminating. I am kind of excited about medicine becoming more managed by women.
Yes.
We have a different set of skills than men, and we are a little more nurturing. Right. You can close the screen if you want to, so we come back as big people. There you go.
There we go.
Technology is fun.
It's great.
So I'm kind of excited about this, and what I especially envisioned, Chrystal, as you were talking, it occurred to me that your Wise Women group could actually have a mentoring piece to mentor young professionals who want to go into medicine. Have you thought of that? Or, I mean, it just came to me.
Yeah, it's something that I've definitely thought about. And in our last Wise Women meeting, we discussed having some mentoring. And so look for that coming up really soon.
That's awesome. Now, do you have to be in the medical field already to be part of Wise Women? Or, I mean, like either you're in school or you're looking for a position? What's the parameters for that group?
So the parameters for the group is you do not have to be in medicine already. Okay. You actually don't even have to have decided that you want to go into medicine, but maybe you do something that is supportive of women in medicine. And so we have different types of folks. We have mental health counselors, also have massage therapists, as well as a nutritionist in the group. And so
it's very diverse as far as the industry or the profession that you're in.
Exactly, it is.
Oh, Chrystal, this has been so awesome. For those of you who are listening, you want to be sure to download Chrystal's blueprint so that you can figure out your passion and purpose and your achievement style. I'm fascinated with that. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to share with our listeners about the new innovative direction medicine is taking and how we can support one another as women in the industry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are so welcome. It's just been a real pleasure, Chrystal. Thanks so much. All right, everyone, it's Leslie Flowers, and I'll see you over at the next presentation.